webinar series. And on behalf of APA ETI, I welcome you to our first session that features best school practices in education in the midst of the pandemic. The free webinar series is an initiative of the Asia Pacific Association of Educators Training Institute, which aims to provide educators an opportunity to strengthen teacher collaboration and support and deepen their knowledge and broaden their understanding of instructional techniques and sound pedagogical concepts and approaches in the COVID era of digital learning through the sharing of best classroom practices from members and invited speakers. Before we begin, please observe the following house rules to ensure a smooth flow of the session. Just for a moment. All right. So house rule number 1, please observe politeness at all times. Please keep your microphone muted as a courtesy to other participants in the Zoom room. Number 2, turn your camera off or use a background if you are in a distracting space. Participants are encouraged to rename themselves as follows: your city or your location, your last name, and your first name. Type your questions in the Q&A box or the chat box because the questions will be answered at the end of the speaker's discussion. For number 5, should you want to use your microphone, please wait for your name to be called by the moderator. And once called, briefly identify yourself and your affiliation, and then your question. Number 6, by joining the event, you agree to participate in a webinar that will also be live streamed in APA ETI's YouTube channel. Unfortunately, dear participants, for our first webinar, the live streaming wouldn't be possible, okay, because of some technical difficulties. But in the succeeding webinar series, it will definitely be live streamed so that those who can't be accommodated in the Zoom room will have the chance, okay, to participate and view and listen to the wonderful, okay, sharings of our resource persons. So apologies for that. Nevertheless, number 7, evaluation link will be posted and shared at the end of the webinar via APA ETI's FB page and YouTube channel. So I'll give time for the other participants who have just joined us in to please rename yourselves. Please follow the format, your city or your location, followed by your last name and your first name. Thank you very much. Now we will pause for a short moment, okay, to prepare ourselves for the opening prayer. Amen. The Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Now, at this point, we are going to listen to Dr. Raquel D. Bernabe, the President and the CEO of the Asia Pacific Association of Educators Training Institute, to give her welcome remarks. Let us give her a warm round of Zoom applause. Dr. Kel?
Okay, can you hear me loud and clear, Doc Ikoy?
Yes, Dr. Kel.
Okay, so a pleasant morning to each and every one of you. I hope that these pre-webinar sessions of APA-IT will really help you to hone your skills in English, aside from English, about the different strategies or pedagogical strategies that all member affiliates of this institution will be given to each and every one of us. Okay, so I hope also that you will support all the webinar series, not only this per session. So every Saturday na po yan, magkakaroon na tayo ng mga pre-webinar sessions aside from very equipable paid webinars na talagang kilala sa atin, yung ating international seminar workshop on pedagogical approaches, ang ating international research conference. So every Saturday, meron na po tayong mga pre-webinar series na talagang open to all para mahon din ang skills ng ating mga magagaling na member affiliate. So thank you very much for your participation, and you are all welcome. So here in APA-IT, Together is Stronger, we educate. So if you would like to be one of us, to be a member affiliate also, we are still open for membership. And if you would like also to publish your article with us, it's either your research or your innovations or your picture article and so on, which is related to education, we can also publish that through our international journal in advanced study, because APA-IT do not only cater seminar workshops, we also cater publications. So we also have publication. This is the International Journal in Advanced Study and our Asia magazine, the Asia Educators First magazine. Okay, you are all welcome here in APA-IT. Okay, so without further ado, let's start our free webinar session. Okay, back to you, Ma'am Ikoy.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kel, for the very warm welcome indeed. And APA-IT as an educators institution is true to its motto. We live up to our motto, which is together we educate. Hence, it is my honor and I'm very happy, okay, to present to you our resource person for today, a person who is an epitome of an outstanding educator. Mr. Mark M. Manabat is a public school secondary school teacher 3 of Virginia Ramirez Cruz National High School in Siling Bata, Pandi, Bulacan. He is currently completing his dissertation in PhD, major in language education or English. He was chosen as one of the national teacher broadcasters in DepEd TV in English 8 that aims to deliver education in TV-based instruction as one of the modalities despite the pandemic. He is also one of the division LRMDS officers as PRO, handled by the LRMDS supervisor, Dr. Reinalda Blanco, a self-learning kit writer, illustrator, and layout artist of English 9, and a school paper advisor in his school. Hosting and singing are his passion. Writing stories and manuscripts is one of his hobbies to share the fun of learning resources and boost the interest of the learners. He has also received numerous awards as an outstanding teacher in school level and a facilitator in an international massive open online course in supervision and content-based instruction. He is also an active officer of lectures and commentators in his parish, a facilitator for retreat that honed his oral communication skills. He is also currently completing his requirements as a national assessor, one for events management services NC3 at TESDA. He is also newly promoted. Congratulations as a master teacher one few days ago in the SDO Bulacan. So friends, help me in welcoming our esteemed resource person for our first webinar series, no less than Mr. Marco M. Manabat. A big round of Zoom applause, everyone. Thank you so much.
Ma'am Irene, actually, if I were to ask not to mention all those, I would wish not to mention, but it was actually a requirement for me as your speaker for today. Thank you so much, Ma'am Irene, for that very energetic introduction for me. Thank you, Ma'am Shi. And of course, I would like to give thanks to our Doc Kel and of course Doc Arnel for recognizing me and of course recommending me for this activity. Actually, I was just wishing myself to share these practices to my own school actually. Well, I'm not saying that my school is not interested to hear this kind of sharing of best practices. It's just that I guess God has really put me to share something not only to my town but also to the people who are really interested, having this kind of fire or burning passion to have this kind of learning modality. So without further ado, we have actually, I guess, ma'am, we have principals and master and head teachers here who are participants, right, ma'am? Ma'am Irene, am I right?
Yes, we
I guess,
do. We do, Marco. And we are jam-packed with not just educators, but also achievers in the field of education.
yes, ma'am. So I was just actually not handpicked. I was actually on the spot. I spontaneously picked as one of the speakers in this organization. And I do hope that what I could share will be a big help for your school, for your division. So I have been an experienced in writing also since I am given the privilege to become a part of the LRMDS. So what I would want to share today is my knowledge and skills in writing a self-learning kit. So dear colleagues, what is a self-learning kit? For all we know, we have actually our self-learning modules in our own divisions, or actually there are SLMs that have been used uh, for national, right? So this is somehow a best practice for me that I apply in case that the modules have already been answered by the students. So let me present to you and let me actually define first what a self-learning kit is. All right. Can you see the presentation, Ma'am Irene?
Yes, very clear, sir.
Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am. So aforementioned, we have actually the keywords from the different definition, an innovative tool produced to meet the standards of the K-12 curriculum in providing our teachers and learners relevant and localized content. Let me emphasize the word innovative tool. So this is a self-paced tool that you could design on your own, but it has to undergo a quality assurance so that our head teachers, our school heads could assure that our material is valid and it contains the enough and important information. So let me also reiterate the words relevant and localized. When we say relevant, of course, students could get into it, could be hooked in our content of the lesson. And of course, when we say localized content, like me who is living in a rural area in Pandi, so I was looking at the best delicacies, places, or landmarks here that I injected or I put as part of my stories on my self-learning kit. So it is a self-contained and independent unit of instruction. Like the SLM or SLMs, these are materials that should be self-paced, meaning to say a child could actually understand and could do the learning on his or her own. So it has specific and self-defined objectives. So as we consider writing self-learning kit, like what I do, actually na-addict na raw po ako sa pagsusulat nito, but actually I really am very eager to collect a lot of SLKs in case of. So before that, let's ask these kinds of questions. What lesson or lessons should I include in my self-learning kit? And of course, how many competencies should I include in my SLK? So what are the importance of SLK? So let me emphasize these important, what do you call this? Importance or relevance of self-learning kit. Of course, first, these lessons or the lessons missed could be first to the Open High School program. Of course, OHSP, the alternative for the secondary education. And of course, during frequent flooding, whenever our mayor announces that there are no classes, and sometimes there's some places that have been stricken by flood, right? They experience frequent flooding. So in this way, there is a delay of the regular classes. So classes were canceled. So this somehow could be a help, the self-learning kit for them to be able to have a tool for learning. So there is a continuity. So aside from that, it could be representing the school in the different competition. There are some students who are being represented. So what I mean is we also give, there is also a learning process to those students who seem so busy being competed to other schools, right? So there's still a means for us to provide something that they could learn through the use of self-learning kit. And of course, the most common reason, the absences due to illness. So we could actually have this concrete means for them to have a considering factor of gaining a point. So aside from that, so students may continue learning even if they are at home. Of course, we will just send it this. So actually before the pandemic, Ma'am Aririn, and to our participants, we already foresaw this kind of scenario wherein in case of these kinds of pandemic or emergency cases, students could still learn if they have this. Okay. And of course, it could maximize their participation. It's not only limited to 1 hour that they could learn from that particular subject. It's in their hand that they could learn from the self-learning kit. And of course, topics and lessons that they need are already put in one material. They could also achieve mastery of the lesson. And of course, lastly, reduce dependency, right? Passiveness in the education process. So they could actually learn on their own. That's the purpose, right? Based on the writer, Mr. Isaac Asimov. So self-education is, he firmly believes, the only kind of education there is. So it's not only in the four corners of the classroom. So to cut it short, it should be, a self-learning kit should possess the following characteristics. First, it should be self-explanatory because as what we've said, it should be self-paced, meaning to say it should be clear and the words should be specific, as well as self-contained. So no need to explain it further. So the validators actually make use of putting themselves as students. If I were a student reading this kind of material, can I easily understand these contents that you have on your SLK? And of course, self-directed, self-motivating, and of course, self-evaluating. Now, let me give you a gist of the format that we use and that has been recommended by our division. And I will also give you somehow a quick format of the regional format of the SLK, which has been recommended by, of course, the regional level. Of course, in terms of the front cover, I will be giving you some examples later shown. So we have the front cover indicating the violator, the headings, the logos, the title of the material, the subject area, the grade level, the cover art, and of course, the standard self-learning kit. Actually, I will be very specific in terms of the font style, font color, so that we could have a standard format for creating or designing your own self-learning kit from the cover until the last page of your SLK. So it should be presentable. So in Tagalog, we call that a sariling linangan kit. Okay? So it includes this in the corner, the government property not for sale, of course. So in Tagalog, that is pag-aari ng pamahalaan. Okay? So it is advised to have that as in size 8. Bold style is in bold style, and the font style is Arial. Okay? So same with, of course, our heading. So mainly, our heading should be our Department of Education, Kagawaran ng Edukasyon, and of course, your school's division, and of course, the address of your school's division. So if I were you, if I could not run because we only have limited time for this, you could screenshot it if you want so that you could no need for the copy, or I'll give my email account later so that I could provide you this format. Okay. Next, we have the for Filipino heading for subjects who use like ESP and Filipino, who use the medium Filipino or Tagalog, Kagawaran ng Edukasyon, pamparalang sangay ng for example, like that in Bulacan, okay, in our schools division. And of course, the address. Of course, on the left side, we have the logo of the Kagawaran ng Edukasyon, and on the right side, we have the logo of your school's division. Okay? So the size is also indicated. 0.75 inches for until 1 inch. Okay? That is the prescribed size of the logo. Next, we have, of course, the recommendation of the title as you see on our screen. This is an example of one of our validated self-learning kits. We emphasized here the title. There is no recommended font style. Again, there's no recommended font style for as long as it is readable and the text should blend the illustration. Okay, so the font size preferably is 30 to 36 points. And of course, the subtitle should be 18 to 22 points. Okay, so of course, we have to indicate underneath the kind of material or the name of the material. It's self-learning kit for English. And of course, in Filipino or in Tagalog, it's sariling linangan kit. Okay, these are some of the examples. Courtesy to the slide of Miss Bondok, my good friend from LRMDS. So I really am very strict in following the format because in our schools division, we are very keen in validating, and in simple way, in the simple cover, they have to follow the format. Okay, as you see, let me go back to this slide. It depends on the grade level of the layout that you want to achieve. Of course, for younger grade levels, it should be more colorful like this. Okay, but of course, for higher levels like grades 11, you could use, for me, I will not use a name of a student unless I have a letter from the student, because it's I'm sure that we are aware of the Data Privacy Act, right? So as if it is better if we use our own illustration or an animated version. Okay. So these are examples. That's just the cover. Now, what's inside cover? Inside front cover is the foreword. In Tagalog, na paunang salita. Again, it serves as the page 2, the foreword, the inside front cover. So that's the front, you open it, and that's our inside front cover. Okay? So that's the constant and actually the format. It should be the foreword. Okay? So preferably the name forward is in boldface. All the titles on the succeeding parts will be in boldface. Okay, and then the remaining are regular font styles. So the word forward is capitalized. And as you see the level for grades 1 to 3, since they are still young, they need a readable text. So you use 16 points. And for grades 4 and up until grade 12, use 12 to 16 font sizes. Again, use regular, do not bold the content or the paragraph, only the titles. Like this one. So good day. I hope you're having a, yeah, I cannot see it. You're having a wonderful day. Now let us begin to explore this material. Have fun. So what does this forward have? I mean, so this is your paragraph form of your intention. Why did you write this material? Okay, so that's very important. So again, yeah, use in boldface the word forward or unang salita. Capitalize that, and of course, grades 1 to 3. I said it a while ago. These are examples, okay? So you will fill in the page number 2. So you will start the pagination or writing page number 2 at the center, if I'm not mistaken, right? It's in the center. You will start writing the pagination page number 2 in our forward, okay? I hope that is clear to you. So let's discover how many pages we could consume in designing an SLK. Of course, we have to, since it is self-paced, there's no teacher, so definitely you have to really explicitly write the objectives, right? The learning competency and the learning code. This is an example. So as you see on my example, it is written up. So I know we are very expert. We know the difference between the objectives and the competencies, right? Learning objectives are designed and self-written by you as the teachers, while the learning competencies are constant because that's the standard. You cannot omit or add anything on the learning competency as is. So it is the learning objectives are rooted from your learning competencies. Okay, do not forget also the code. Okay, the code of the MELC, right? The MELC or learning competency is just the same. The MELC, we just got the most essential since it's pandemic. Okay, so again, as what I mentioned, all caps for the words objectives or in Tagalog, layunin. And then of course, kasanayan sa pagkatuto, we have the learning competency all in capital letters or uppercase letters and in boldface. And then for the remaining texts and numbered or the content, it should be regular. It's not bolded, okay? Again, for grades 1 to 3, it should be 16 points, the font size. And then otherwise, if that is grades 4 and 12, it should be 12 to 16. Moving forward, so we will make sure that we will help you out here. So as you see, we have there on the next page, again, we have this example, the learning objectives or the layunin, and of course, the kasanayan sa pagkatuto. And then after that, it should be followed by of course, here we have the objectives. So we have what happened. So what do you think is the part of the what happened in our learning or in our session or class session? So these are the set of pre-tests, right? So before we ask our students to learn on the lesson, we will not expect them to get a perfect score here. In short, it's just like a diagnosis. Why do we diagnose students on their prior knowledge? So of course, we have to know what are the things that they already mastered on that particular, on the dimension of that topic, and what are the things that they don't understand. So if for us to determine or monitor, we could use item analysis if we want, if you're really keen enough to determine which part of the lesson is not really understood. That's why we have this, the pre-test, or we call that as what happened. So it's just like conversational type of transitioning end titles. We're just parang we are just talking to the students, like the question, the title is in the question form. What happened? So the students are clueless. They don't know the content or the lesson itself. So we will determine that through our pretest or in our work, what happened. Okay. So for grades, so please let me reiterate this. For grades 1 to 3, preferably you could create 1 to 5 items. For high school, for grades 4 and up, you could have 10 to 15 items for your pretest. Okay. So again, those are the suggested number of items for our pretest, or the part we call that as what happened. Okay, that's our part 1. We have, of course, this example. Same formatting. We have all caps for the title, right? Roman number 1, what happened? Or Roman number 1, ano ang nangyari? And then these are the set of questions. So we have the common type of questions could be multiple choice, but we are advised to omit the choice among the choices, letter D, none of the above, or letter D, all of the above. We are asked to remove that, okay, so that the students could really choose the right, correct, and the correct answer, okay? So we omit that kind of, on our division, we omit those kinds of choices, okay? Moving forward, we have the heart of the SLK. The heart of the SLK is the discussion part, which is what to learn. In here, there should be a writer. A writer should be creative enough. As how we defined self-learning kit a while ago, it should be localized. Meaning to say, think of a situation. As I'll be showing to you my example of my SLK later. So on the title itself, you will actually determine that this comes from Pandi, because Pandi is known for this kind of product, somehow like that. So you will really create as a writer a story, injecting or anchoring the lesson or the content based on the MELC. Okay, and then of course the part 3, what have you learned? So a while ago we had the pretest, diba? What is the pretest again? What happened? Now on the third part we have the post test. What have you learned? And of course they will get that from the part 2, which is the discussion. Okay. So what do you need to know? We have been using a tool to check. Actually, we have a field testing tool. We call it as field testing tool or evaluation tool for others, because that is our standard way on how we monitor if this writer follow the format. So it is important. Let me show you this example. The teacher, in tossing a coin, how many possible outcomes are there? This is probably math. Before we proceed, let me discuss to you the definition of examples of fundamental counting principle. So what do you observe? There's always a transition sentence. You'll not just go straight to the lesson itself. There's always an introduction by using a particular situation or a question or guide question, okay, to introduce the concept. All right? So parang ginamit dito ni ma'am, she used an application in cell phone to get rid of the illustration. Okay? So that is example. So the teacher was able to introduce the concept inside the box. Okay? That is part of the job of the layout artist, to ensure that the important concepts are being emphasized in box. Okay? So we are also asked and trained to always see that students are like journeying. They are in a journey, visiting each page. They are actually having the journey of learning. So we have this on page 4. So these are examples, concrete examples based on this on the lesson. Experiment is flipping up a coin once. So by applying that lesson on the sets, so he was able to use this example. Okay. So let's assume that we are done with the content. So you'll go straight to this kind of this part, which is, so what do we need? What do they need to know? It should be part 3. So that's typographical. So you will go straight to the post test. Okay. So most of the post tests have choices. It's up to you, but it's advised to have it with choices. Okay. Example of the content, the discussion part. This is in Filipino or Tagalog. I guess this is ESP. Yes, education siya sa pagpapakatao. Ano ang dapat malaman? So ang pananalig sa Diyos ay pagpapakita ng ganap na pagtitiwala anuman sa ating kaharapin na pamumuhay. So habang ginagawa natin ang makakaya natin, di ba, it's parang take a look on that, on this content of the lesson. It's like the teacher is talking to the student. So the approach is somehow, it's self-paced. Since it's self-paced, we are talking to the student, and that's the art of, that's actually also an art of a writer. Okay, we have to make it conversational. What I did in my learning material later, I will show you, is that I was telling a story about a character from living here in Pandi somehow. Okay, then it's all about, bilang ganti dapat napahalaga natin ang mga biyayang ating natatanggap. Ang biyaya ay mga bagay na nasa ating paligid. Ito ay maaaring nakikita tulad ng pagkain, bahay. So these are the key concepts, right? That are found in the second part. And now we have to proceed to, they could now proceed to, what have you learned? Right? So that serves as our part 3. So you could use variety of types of questions. In this case, we have the matching type. So again, for grades 3 and below, you could use item numbers until 5 points. For higher levels, for 4 and up, we could use 10 to 15 items. Okay. So these are examples. Again, it's for grades 1 to 3, could preferably use 16 points for your font sizes, and for grades 4 and up, use 12 to 16. So in Filipino or in Tagalog, ano ang natutunan? So we have there 4 choices. Okay, let us bear in mind that activities should be 4. So I will explain to you later why 4. Why 4 activities? And it's also advised that, and we have to also take note as writers in the future, make your instructions very clear or specific. Okay. And of course, the references should include using the Chicago format or citation. As what I've said a while ago, aforementioned, I said we have to obtain 4 activities. Why? Because we have to achieve these 4 C's of 21st century skills. Okay? Meaning to say, these 4 activities should exhibit the following 4 C's. The first activity should be critical. Okay? So what are the examples of critical activities? Maybe you're thinking, where is the identification part? Where is the matching type? If you remember, it reflected on the post test. Okay, maybe you're looking more of the activities. These activities could be varied in the different kinds of type of questions that you will use. In this activity 1, always remember it should be critical. How critical? Not in the word that students will have this hard time answering this. No, you could ask them, when you say critical, use their critical thinking skills. Okay, you will ask them to draw based on the story. Let's have the example. Iguhit sa loob ng bawat kahon ang mga biyayang iyong ipinagdadasal na iyo na natanggap, at sumulat ng maikling pangusap na panalangin pasasalamat sa Diyos. So they could have varied answers here. And at the same time, they could think of, on their own, applying what they've learned about being generous and having this right of having to achieve these kinds of basic needs on their lives. So at the same, so hindi po siya factual. They're not factual. They have to really think on their own on this example in which they're asked to draw something and they're going to write also in sentence what could they reflect into. Okay. Next, the second C, if we're done with the
Sir
first one, we have
Marco.
to, yes
Hello,
po.
Sir Marco. Sir
Hello?
Marco, just would like to remind you of our time limit. So I
Yes
think
po.
you have around 2 minutes to wrap it up.
Okay.
Thank you, Sir
Okay.
Marco.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for reminding me. So we also have a communicator. So in this example, we ask them to communicate with God. So we ask someone, they don't get answers from themselves. Okay. Next, you have the third one is collaborator. So it's more of a dialogue. You ask them to talk to someone. And of course, creator, the highest level, which in which they have to write on their own sentences and paragraphs. So let me again wrap it up. So we have activity 1, critical thinker, activity 2, communicator, activity 3, collaborator, activity 4, we have creator. So we already have witnessed this already. Our references should be in what format it should be in. Chicago Style Citation 17th edition. We'll start with the surname of the writer and the initial of the first name, copyright year, period, the title, comma, and of course the publishing house. Okay, let me just do it in 1 minute. So this is the back portion. We cite, of course, the people who became part of it, for the region format, and of course the division format. Now, let me present to you my works on a time frame. So I have here my works since 2019, school year 2019-2020. So the title is The Punctuation Family and Capitalized Love. So from the title itself, you know the topic, punctuation and capitalization. And of course, this is actually a story of a family from Manila. Actually, we accepted those relocatees from Manila to Pandi. We have this pabahay. I'm sure you're familiar with Pandi. And of course, this year, just recently, school year 2020-2021, I made 3. Hindi ko alam po kung ano nakain ko, gumawa po ko ng 3. Until now, pinapa-quality assure ko pa po yan. Okay, so it underwent quality assurance in front of our school head teachers, and of course, the field testing, the demonstration, for it to be able to identify. Last year po yon. And ito po yung recent. This one was the recent. I was 2 days ago, I validated my material like this. Okay, so for English 9, I made the crunchy chicharon house of Modalisa, because there are a lot of chicharon business here, and of course Junior Mayor of Barangay Conditionals, inspired by our Mr. Ayuda, our Mayor Rico Roque. Utilization, I prepared of course the lesson plan, the reading progress chart if they really read the SLK, and of course I monitor this the last part na lang po. So I was able to discover that on their own they got good grades. We did it virtually, and I'm quite surprised that the scores were very satisfactory. We had the student got 8/10, 8/10, and then 23/25. So I ranked them by 3. So there's rank 1, rank 2, rank 3. Okay. So I hope you have really learned something on my best practice. Again, learning is not something we impart on students. It is something they do for themselves. So again, this is your big brother of DepEd TV, Sir Mark M. Manabat, and I hope that I helped and I gave you the helpful tips for writing your own self-learning kit. Thank you so much. Ma'am Irene, back to you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Manabat, for that
Thank
very
you.
generous sharing. So,
Yeah, po.
friends, let us pause for a while to savor and appreciate what we have just listened to and identify what we found meaningful in the sharing of Mr. Manabat. Did you know that we have around 134 participants in this Zoom
Uh,
meeting room? That's a lot, right? All the way from north to south of the island. So thank you very much, dear educators, for taking your time off to be with us today. We do appreciate your presence. And because of that, I think we still have time, no, for a question and answer and interaction session. We shall now open the floor for questions from the audience. You may now type your questions in the Q&A box. And should you want to use the microphone, kindly use your raise hand button. Okay, wait for your name to be called, and once called, please briefly introduce yourself, your name and your affiliation, and then your question. So let's start with our Q&A. Likewise, for those of you who wish to share about what they found meaningful in the sharing of Mr. Manabat, kindly use your raise hand as well so that we can acknowledge you or use the chat box. Okay, so now we have several responses from our audience, Mr. Manabat, and I would be reading some of them. Thank you for your very informative discussions. Thank you so much, Mr. Manabat. We have learned a lot. Okay, so it's not just about the self-learning kit. It's actually being resourceful as teachers, that even during the time of the pandemic, learning should not stop. So we do, okay, everything we can do. Actually, we can only do as much because at the end, our students must be able to be independent learners. And through the help of the self-learning, okay, our students will be able to learn, okay, the concepts, okay, by themselves, okay, with maybe little, okay, little to moderate, okay, a help from the teachers, okay. So this is something that we actually appreciate. Another insight from the chat box, the self-learning kit. This is a question, Mr. Manabat, about the self-learning kit, okay. Is the module entirely about the self-learning kit? Yes, sir. I think I can answer that. Okay, so that's the focus of Mr. Manabat's talk. Okay, some technicalities with regard to making, okay, of the self-learning kit, objectives, okay, were also set. Very clear discussion. Kudos to Mr. Manabat. Very clear discussion on how to create the self-learning kit. Thank you so much, Mr. Mark, for the instilled knowledge in making the self-learning kit. So we still have 2 minutes, dear participants. If you have questions, you may just unmute, okay, and briefly introduce yourself and state your question.
Actually, Ma'am
Please.
Irene,
Yes,
I
sir.
typed in on our chat box my email account so that if they ask me to give them the copy of my PowerPoint, I'm very willing to share it, ma'am, so that they could actually focus on the content of the lesson since we have only have time constraint, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. That's so generous of you, Mr. Manabat. All right. So, it's only all but admiration and appreciation that I see in the chat box right now. Okay. If there is any more question, last call for questions, dear participants, before we move on to the awarding of certificate. Okay. So I guess that's about it. All right. So, but in case you have some things to clarify or things to ask about the self-learning kit, you may reach out not to Mr. Manabat through his email address, which he typed on the chat box. So to show our appreciation, okay, to our very enthusiastic, energetic, and passionate resource person, join me in presenting the certificate of recognition to Mr. Marco M. Manabat. Okay, so here is our humble, okay, token of appreciation for Mr. Marco M. Manabat for his significant contribution as resource speaker during the free webinar session on school best practices entitled A Self-Learning Kit for Honing the Skills in English, organized by the Asia Pacific Association of Educators Training Institute, given this 21st of August 2021 via the Zoom meeting. Okay, signed by Dr. Raquel D. Bernabe, the president of APA-ETI, Dr. Arnel E. Genzola, the director for professional development of APA-ETI, and Dr. Adrian Lawrence P. Carvajal, the director for research and publication of APA-ETI. So thank you very much once again, Mr. Manabat. It was nice having you, as our resource person for today. And let's take this opportunity, dear participants, okay, to have a photo op with our resource person. So may we request a photo op with Mr. Manabat with the whole group for documentation. If able, kindly turn on your video so everyone can be seen in the gallery. Thank you so much. Okay, so I will be asking for the help of Team Mark. I can do, okay, the screen capturing. Okay, and maybe we can also ask Sir Ronald to help me out in taking the photos. Thank you so much. So we have around 136 participants right now. So it would take around 5 to 6 pages. Is it okay? All right, so smile. Ready on my signal. Ready, 1, 2, and 3. Next slide. Smile, just smile and show your close-up smile. Thank you so much, dear participants. Next, we have, okay, slide 4. All right, so everyone can be seen. Please turn on your videos. Yeah, if able. All right, so we appreciate. So let's take the last 2 slides. Mabilis na lang po. Yes, all right. Okay, so we want everyone to be part of this momentous, okay, webinar series, the first, okay, of the many series that you hopefully will be a part of. So we're done. Thank you so much for the photo op. Thank you very much. So moving on. All right, so we value your time, dear participants. And so we would like, of course, all right, to after, okay, listening and learning a lot from our resource person, surely there's a lot of exciting activities in store for all the participants and new members of APA-ETI. Let us once again hear from our president, Dr. Raquel Bernabe, updates about upcoming APA-ETI projects and activities. How about a heart's reaction for Dr. Kel? Thank you, everyone. Dr. Kel?
Okay, once again, pleasant afternoon to each and every one of you. Okay, ngayon ko lang nalaman na si Sir Manabat pala is also a lector of church. We have same lector and commentator din ako sa OMPSU. Okay.
Yes.
Once again, congratulations, Sir Manabat. I'm so glad that you have shown your best practices to all educators. So we have 136 participants, but don't you worry, lahat po ng mga hindi nakapasok sa Zoom meeting natin ngayon, we will stream this recorded video. Our first session series of free webinar. You are lucky enough because you have paki-admit na lang yung mga ibang nagpapa-admit. Okay? You are lucky enough kasi nakapasok kayo sa live Zoom pre-webinar namin. But don't you worry, for those na hindi nakapasok sa Zoom meeting, we will still record this first session and we will stream that maybe this afternoon after this webinar session. Okay, so for the updates, for the recent updates of programs, events of APA-ETI, so I would like to inform every one of you that APA-ETI also have a publishing house. We officially have our international journal in advanced study. I will just show you the website of our international journal in advanced study. Okay, so Can I share my screen, Ma'am Irene?
Yes, Dokel, you can now share your screen.
Okay, so can you see my presentation now?
Yes, Dokel.
Okay, so this is the website of our International Journal in Advanced Study, wherein you can access that by keying our website name. We have the ijust.com.ph, or you can just type in International Journal in Advanced Study. So this is the first issue of the International Journal in Study. Here, you can publish your study, not only your study, but also your action research. So this is open to all. Pwede nyo i-publish ang inyong action research. All you need to do is to convert it into IMRAD format. If you don't have any idea on how are you going to convert it into IMRAD format, all you need to do is to send your queries to this email address. Can you please type it in, Ma'am Ikoy? Educators Publishing House @gmail.com.
Yes, we'll do, Dokel.
Okay, Educators Publishing House @gmail.com, so that we can be able to answer all your queries with regards to how are you going to publish your study with us. So another thing na pwede nyong i-publish sa ating International Journal in Advanced Study is your innovations. Katulad ng innovation ni Sir Mark Manabat, we're lucky enough kasi napapanahon talaga ang innovative materials na piniresent ni Sir Mark Manabat. Diba? And that is for free for each and every one of you. So if you have those innovative materials, just like modules or SIM or strategic intervention materials or teaching materials, publish that in International Journal in Advanced Study. This is also open for innovations, not only multidisciplinary research and action research, but this is also open for innovations. So, kailangan lang i-convert nyo yan into 1 to 20 pages only para pumasa sa international standard ng mga international. Can you please mute, Ma'am Ikoy, all paki-mute nga po yung iba at medyo maingay yung... Okay, thank you very much, Ma'am Ikoy. So, this is the first journal that we cater in Educators Publishing House. This is a in legality, legal po ang publishing house natin. So, for information of everybody, it do not only cater seminar, workshops, and conferences. We also cater publishing house. You can also publish your book. We can assist you on how you can have your own ISBN number or your own ISSN number, provided that you are going to publish your book with us. Okay. Another publication that we cater is our Asia magazine. I will show you our Asia magazine. Okay. Okay, so another thing na pwede nyong i-publish ang inyong mga feature article, specifically those education-related article, you can publish that in our first volume, issue 1 of our Asia Educators Pulse Magazine. Nakikita ba yung aking presentation, Ma'am Irene?
Yes, Dokel.
Yes
Thank you
po.
very much. So this is the first volume of our Asia Educators Pulse Magazine. So here, you can publish all your articles, your poems, and any other article that you have in your mind, in your heart, that you would like to have it published. Okay? So, kung gusto nyo i-publish yan, kung article yan, kung wala kayong research and innovations, you can publish it in our first Asia magazine, and that is Asia Educators Course Magazine. International magazine din po siya. So meron na rin po siyang ISSN number wherein you can publish your best practices also, not only your your feature article, your best practices. We also publish or we can also market your businesses. Kung may businesses kayo which is related or non-related to education, we can also help you market your business here in our first issue of Asia Educators Pulse Magazine. Okay. So yan ang mga latest program na kinikater ng APA-ET. Another thing that I would like to invite all of you is, of course, our big event, our upcoming big event, and that will be discussed by our very own Dr. Arnel Dinsola. And okay, so Ma'am Irene, I guess wala na ako nakalimutan, no? So thank you very much. And if you have any queries with regards to this webinar session or with regards to other events and programs of APA-ET, you can reach us in our main Facebook page, the Asia Educators, Asia Pacific Association of Educators Training Institute. So meron kaming big event this coming September 25 sa Shangri-La Hotel. So that will be the first Golden Global Educators and Researchers Guild Award, which is still open to everybody. But of course, you need to pass the criteria and all the and also the panel interview. This 3 p.m. meron po kaming 6 panel interview. So kung gusto niyo po na mag-join, don't hesitate to contact the APA-ET page so that we can be able to send you the link for Zoom panel interview. Okay, back to you, Ma'am Irene.
All right, so there you have it, dear guests and participants. Our President Dr. Kel provided us with a glimpse of exciting activities and projects of APA-ET. So we can't wait to see all of you taking part in those activities. So on behalf of the APA-ET, okay, I would like, okay, once again to invite you all, okay, take this opportunity as educators more than ever. This is the time that we have to strengthen our collaboration. And speaking of collaboration, as we come to the concluding part of our session, we shall now lend our ears, okay, to one of the prime movers of the Asia Pacific Association of Educators Training Institute, an advocate of professional, okay, development through strengthened collaboration among educators. Please welcome the Director for Professional Development of APA-ET, the English is a Foreign Language Program Head and Program Director of Chilean University in Lambton College, China. Friends, let's all welcome with a big Zoom round of applause, Dr. Arnel E. Genzola for his closing remarks.
Thank you very much, Ma'am Irene. And once again, good afternoon to all our participants. On behalf of APA-ET, the Asia Pacific Association of Educators Training Institute, we would like to thank everyone. Our speaker, Sir Mark, thank you very much for the job well done. Our moderator, Ma'am Irene, that's great hosting for today for the maiden, okay, issue and session of APA-ET. Our layout artist, our information officer, we have Sir Oliver and then Sir Ronald. And all our dear participants on Zoom, and hopefully next week with the help of the team, we will be able to have our session live on YouTube and on Facebook. Thank you for your support, our free webinar series. Thank you for making this event successful, our fellow educators, our colleagues across the different regions in the country. Thank you very much for being with us this afternoon. It was for sure a very insightful afternoon, learning from our resource person what you might be able to integrate or use in the respective classrooms. We have just scratched the surface, that's for sure. Okay, so colleagues, our free webinar series will be held every Saturday, at 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So it is for sure that we will learn more from our succeeding sessions. Okay, so fellow educators, may we all persist in trying out and exploring opportunities and possibilities that might be of great use to teach in the COVID era of digital learning. So we hope, okay, this is our biggest hope to everybody. We hope to have you join us, not only as participants, but hopefully as part of the Yapa Eri. So you too will have an opportunity to be one of our future resource persons. Okay, so those of you wanting to be part, to be one of us, to be part of the institution, we would like you to touch base with us using our Facebook page, our YouTube channel, or contact any one of us, anyone you know as part of the team today for the first session. Please drop us a message and we will get back to you on how you will be able to be part of Papa Eddie. So before I again say thank you to everybody, additional update, okay, as given by Doc Kel. Again, thank you, Doc Kel. Thank you, Doc Adrian, a director as well for research and publication of Papa Eddie. Other two updates, Doc Kel already mentioned this. The search for the Grega 2021 is still ongoing. So it's tentatively scheduled on the 25th of September. And the tentative venue is going to be at the Shangri-La Hotel in Manila. And we have been doing the panel interviews for the last 6 weeks, every Saturday from 3 to 5 in the afternoon. But today we're going to have it at 5:30 to 7:30 or 5:30 to 7 tonight for those who were able to submit their bio notes for the pre-screening. So we would usually start with your bio note submissions, and then the committee will have to go over your submissions. And then from there, you will be sent a message in terms of what you need to provide, your MOVs, for example, your documentations, for example, all the supporting documents. And then we will set a schedule for you for your panel interview with the members of the panel. Doc Kel is the chairperson of the search of the 2021 Greca Awards. And myself and Dr. Adrian Lawrence P. Carvajal, he is the Dean of the Institute of Graduate Studies of San Sebastian College, Recoletos, and he is my co-chairperson for the Grega 2021. So we scheduled the live interview with you on Zoom for like 10 minutes per applicant, for every interviewee, and we will get back to you for the results right after if you qualify, if you satisfy the requirements, and you will be part of the roster of awardees of the first 2021 Grega this year. And I am very happy, okay, to present to everybody that our Grega, the 2021 Grega, is in partnership. It's going to be sponsored. One of our major sponsors is Globe Telecom. Okay, so for the 2021 Grega, and should you wish to be part of that, so the first Golden Global Educators and Researchers Guild Award 2021 is going to be in partnership with Globe Telecom, and Globe Telecom will be our major sponsor. And there will be more surprises for the list of awardees. And we will be presenting to you more of these as we progress through the evaluation of all those who qualified for the panel interview. All right. So for those who would like, I have seen Ma'am Irene, I was able to see from the chat box, we have a number of those participants today. I assume those are non-members who would like to be part of APA EDI. Again, please drop us a message using our Facebook page, like our page, and then using our YouTube channel as well. Drop us a message about it, and we will get back to you for that. Okay, and just a correction for the journal. Sorry about it was an oversight. It's the International Journal of Advanced Studies. Okay, so those of you, again, as mentioned by Doc Kel, APA EDI is also a publishing house. Okay, so she was already able to give the details of that for everybody. And once you become a member, we have regular meetings for the members, and we will also provide you what you need for publication and to be part of any of the future events and activities of APA EDI. Okay, so once again, I would like to thank everybody. I want to thank you for your participation for our first webinar session today. We thank our speaker again, Sir Mark, and our moderator, Ma'am Irene, for the job well done, and Team 1 for Sir Oliver, Sir Ronald, for Doc Adrian, for Doc Kel, and to each member of APA EDI for coming over today, to all head teachers, master teachers, school principals who are with us, and college professors who participated. Thank you very much for making the event a success. for making it a successful event today. Thank you very much. Stay safe and God bless everybody.
Thank you very much, Dr. Genzola. You know, everything that Dr. Genzola said, okay, in his closing remarks, all comes from the heart. Okay, we at APA-ERI want everyone to be on board, okay, in every step of the way, in every project, okay, in every activities that we will be doing in the future. So at this point, okay, dear guests and participants, we would like to request for your evaluation of the free webinar on self-learning kit for honing the skills in English. Please evaluate the recently concluded APA-ERI free webinar on self-learning kit for honing the skills in English. Your feedback matters to us. So we request that you accomplish this evaluation honestly and objectively. Take note that you can only evaluate once. So please review your information, since these are the basis or the final basis for your certificate. All right, so I'll be pasting once again the link, okay, to the evaluation. So if you want to be included in the list of participants, please type in your information as honestly as possible. All right, so that is all for now. Okay, dear participants and guests, thank you so much. We highly value your presence today, and we hope to see all of you again in our next free webinar. Together, we educate. On behalf of the APA-ERI, I thank you all for coming. Goodbye and stay safe and healthy, everyone. Thank you so much. Bye.
Irene,
Thank
thank
you
you.
po.
Thank you po. Thank you very much. God bless po.
Thank you
Maraming
po.
salamat po.
Thank you so much. It is my
Salamat
first time to
po.
attend this kind of webinar.
Proud to be a friend.
Thank you, Sir Mark Manabat. God bless po.
Welcome po. God bless po. Ma'am Irene, thank you po. Message lang po kayo sa ano po ha, sa ano po, sa akin po, nakapost po yung aking email. Thank you po.
Thank you so much, Sir Mark, and advance happy birthday.
Thank you po, Ma'am Berna. Thank you.
Happy birthday po.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, thank you.
Dokel, so we would like to ask the number one to stay. We still have 78 people trying to exit our Zoom meeting. So we would like to request Ma'am Irene, Sir Mark, Sir Oliver, and Sir Ronald to stay. So we have 76. Congratulations, Sir Mark. And Ma'am Irene, ang galing.
Ma'am Irene, galing.
We are so proud of both of you.
Thank you,
And Sir
sir.
Oliver, and then Sir Ronald. Okay.
Huwag na tayong mag-admit, ha? Tama na.
Yes, Doc. Nag-exit sila, Doc. We still have 63 members.
Yung mga hindi naka-attend, na naka-registered, pwede silang umattend sa basta ang pagbabasihan natin yung evaluation for. Yung recording natin, stop recording ko na, no?